I'm going to do an insight video today. Well, I'm going to talk about insight and awareness and sort of like illumination again. When I first created these sites and these like channels, um, you know, they were sort of like always named like spiritual insight and awareness. And awareness is one of the key things to spiritual evolution. As we start to move through this, it's the understanding that each and every one of us has awareness, we have insight, and we also have the keys. We have the keys for our own evolution. Um, a lot of us as spiritual beings are moving through um, this new process. This new process as we start to awaken and we start to ascend. As we start to move through the spiritual journey, and more, um, a lot of the things that we go through in life, and a lot of things that we sort of like we identify with are like spiritual opportunities like within our lives, especially with things like a lot of the time we've got the external things that we're dealing with, which is like job, relationships, money, the day-to-day things, but we each and every one of us, you know, has the keys, because each and every one of us has this infinite consciousness that's within us. Each and every one of us is born with this infinite consciousness. And like with with sort of like sayings like the light shall set you free, this is a direct example of like the ascended masters and the ascended masters teachings around like consciousness, that you know that you have an infinite consciousness in you. You're not bound by limits, and you're not bound by um, physical reality. You're a spiritual being that has source energy and source creation in each and every one of us. And we all have the keys. We all have the keys for our own insight, and we all have awareness. But the awareness is directly connected to consciousness, and this light consciousness and these light frequencies that each and every one of us hold within our own spiritual being. And this is what each and every one of us need to awaken to. When you look at like life, and you look at your sort of reality, the external things, when you attach to them or you identify with them, they're the things that really sort of like either create fear, or they create worry, they create doubt. But when you're actually sort of connected to like your infinite consciousness and your light frequencies and your source creation and your source energy, there is no doubt, there is no worry, there's security in that. A lot of us look for security in the external world, and we look for it through success, money. We look for it through sort of like looking at other people and relationships. When each and every one of us has this infinite sort of like understanding, with this infinite access to wisdom, and insight and awareness, which is why these channels have been sort of like um, created, but also that's why they were sort of like this was why they were sort of like called this insight awareness, spiritual insight and awareness, because we all have those keys. We all have those keys within each of us. Each of us have those like universal keys or universal understanding, as do with the ascended masters, which are these infinite, um, you know, beings of light that bring this infinite wisdom of source energy and source creation. And like when they talk about like the Great White Brotherhood, this is the collective of beings of universal teachers who have universal understanding. And when you talk about universal understanding, you're talking about infinite realities and infinite dimensional experience. And they bring light and energy to all beings in all realities and all realms. They are very much like we are very much like connected. The ascended masters are working for this planet at the moment, because a lot of us have chosen to be here, have reincarnated to come back to the planet to shift and change the reality, and shift and change the spiritual sort of like create a dimensional shift. And when you're talking about spiritual dimensions, you're talking about how they align. And it's like when we talk about like sixth dimension, there's a lot of dimensions within the universe, or within source energy or source creation, that are already connected to source energy. And this is what this time's about, is coming back to source energy. And we all have illumination as well. And illumination, when you look at like Lord Lanto, and you look at the ascended masters, they were all illumined beings. And what's meant by that is they held the understanding, they held the understanding of consciousness, the understand of creation and consciousness, and how that creation and consciousness are sort of aligned in perfect union. So like your thoughts and your consciousness that you send out and that you vibrate with is what creates your reality. And again, it's the understanding that each and every one of us has that source creation, that source vibration, and that source blueprint in each and every one of us. And this is what this time's about. And illumination is about that. It's having the wisdom and the understanding to apply spiritual principles and spiritual laws and spiritual understanding to physical reality and physical life. And when we start to do that, what we start to do is shift and change our reality. But we shift and change it. But we also know that physical reality is a fluid thing. It's energy and light. And when we apply consciousness to energy and light, we shift and change it. We manifest it. We create it. And this is like the law of attraction. The law of manifestation and creation are all sort of connected together. Everything is interlinked and nothing is separate. And this is what this time's about. Over the last couple of days, I've definitely sort of like, I've been walking back today, and I've had a few instances where I've been very much connected to like the external world and some of the external worries and fears and doubts and stuff like that. And again, it brings me back, and it brings me back to my sort of like my source energy and my source creation, but also my consciousness. And security only happens, or I only feel secure when I'm actually connected more in my center, where I'm aligned to that sort of like source energy. The external world doesn't bring security. The external world is really something that distracts us. And the more that I sort of like meditate, and the more I get connected into that, the more I understand that security is when I'm in my own source energy. And when I'm in my source energy, it's like I start to see the external world is connected. It's connected to that source creation, that source energy. But when my consciousness is right and my consciousness is aligned, then I'm in tune. I'm in tune with, my source energy, and I understand then that, the external world is only a reflection of my own thoughts and feelings, and those thoughts and feelings, again, are what being created by me. I'm creating that external world by the fear and the worry and the doubt. And when I actually sort of dissolve that again, and this is where like Saint Germain comes in with the violet flame, and it's very much around sort of transmutation and transformation. It comes in, and you start to realize that you can transform and transmute, and you can shift to different states of consciousness. Consciousness is very much connected to reality. And we have an infinite sort of like light consciousness, and we have an awareness, and we all have this insight, and we all hold these keys. And again, this is where illumination comes in. Illumination is the understanding of applying, wisdom to our lives, and applying wisdom to and working with universal laws and universal principles. But we also know that, at any moment we can transform something, and we can transmute it. So we can go from, we go through these different states of being. And so like transmutation to me is different states of being, which is different frequencies and different consciousness. And as we transmute things, so we go from one state of being to the next. So the more we're open to our consciousness and our understanding, the more that we start to see, as an infinite being of source creation, that each and every one of us has the ability to shift and change our reality. And this is where you become this co-creator, and this is what the sixth dimensional sort of energy that's coming down is very much around. And the ascended masters are always working with us through this, and all you have to do is sort of call upon them, or see the wisdom and see the understanding, and the insight within your daily lives, which are coming through all the time. Again, universal law of correspondence. I talk about this one a lot, but it is so essential, because this is what we're talking about: the universal law of correspondence, the understanding that as a source being, you create your reality, and you create it through consciousness. So the external world is only a reflection of what 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 your consciousness is, what your thoughts and feelings and those experiences. But you also then start to realize, for me, I realize more and more now that the external world, things come up, but if I'm in my source creation and my source frequency, I can dissolve those. I can dissolve those really, really quickly. And it's all around sort of like how I apply my consciousness and my insight and my understanding, my awareness. And this is where the wisdom comes from, because wisdom is the reflection of insight, awareness, and understanding. And when you apply things to that, then the wisdom comes through, because each and every spiritual being has this. You are not powerless. You are powerful, and it's this kind of understanding. Awareness is a wonderful thing, and it's very much linked to consciousness. Consciousness is just like light frequencies that create reality, and the more that we sort of connect into our spiritual understanding and insight, the more we become illumined, because we become aware of the wisdom that each and every one of us holds, and this again then activates. So wisdom is also like carried by the soul, which each and every one of us incarnate with when we come down here. So like wisdom is like it activates, and when we come down as these, and we access our soul or our infinite selves, what we start to do is we bring that wisdom of the ages through, into this lifetime, which many of us carry that frequency, and we carry that frequency into this incarnation, and this is why we've come down, and this is why a lot of us are here now. We're here to anchor in these light frequencies, these this light consciousness, to shift and change the planet. And this is what the masters are doing and the angels are doing, but this is what we're doing as well. We're all part of that process, and we're working in perfect union together, and this is where the law of one comes in. And again, it's about having that understanding and applying that wisdom, and what comes out of that is peace, presence, understanding, insight. And again, the universal law of inspired action is a really good one, again, because it talks about receiving communication, activating understanding, bringing wisdom forward, and obviously then shifting and changing your consciousness, which is going to this different state of being. But inspired action is you connect or align with your soul, or you connect and align with the infinite beings that are bringing wisdom and understanding to the planet, and then what you do is you act upon it. The inspired action is the next step. So when we receive communication from angels, from masters, from our own soul as well, which is connected to these infinite realms, the six-dimensional reality, which is the next step to source energy and source creation, and which is why we're talking a lot about source energy and source creation. But consciousness is the understanding that, when your consciousness shifts and changes, when you understand. Inspired action is about taking that next step, when it's integrating it and applying that wisdom to your reality, and that will shift and change your reality. And this is what this time's about, and this is why a lot of us are coming to this understanding now. And again, I've talked about Lemuria, I've talked about Atlantis, I've talked about these different spiritual cultures, and for a long time they were living in unity with these vibrations. And this is why we see things like Telos now, which is the Mount Shasta in America, that they're talking about like a fifth dimensional reality, which is heaven on earth, which is also the understanding that each and every us walk with that spiritual light, that source energy, but we can also sort of like be these spiritual beings in human form, and express it to shift and change our reality, but to shift and change the planetary reality. And this is why this insight and this information, and again this awareness, is coming through now. And I feel this is what the masters are doing, this is what the angels are doing, these are what these infinite beings of light are doing, which is what the Great White Brotherhood do. I've been seeing over the last couple of days, I've been seeing like pyramids again, and I've been getting impressions of those, and they're opening again. Pyramid is a portal, it opens up for new frequencies and new energies, And again, this brings insight, awareness, understanding, um, and all of this is leading to ascension. But ascension isn't something that you go to, or you create. Is something you are. What I mean by that is ascension is the process of coming back into source energy, source creation, but also into oneness. And know it. And when you come into oneness, it's the understanding, the insight, and the awareness that all things are connected, and we're all part of the same. Um, we're all part of the same process. That the ascended masters are here to illuminate and give us wisdom and understanding, so we can work within the universal principles, the universal laws, and the universal vibrations, so that we start to awaken. And ascension is that process of awakening, and the ascension is the process of, once you awaken, it's a then sort of like the ascension is coming back into oneness, and then expressing it here and now. It's not about going to the spirit world to do it. Ascension happens here. Um, Ascension is also linked to transmutation, where we're going through these different states of consciousness and different states of being. It's very much connected to that as well. Ascension is the oneness, but it's also the understanding. It's going back to wholeness. It's going back to the understanding and awakening to that you're the spiritual being, the spiritual light here now, and you'll always be that spiritual light. Wherever you go, you'll always be that spiritual light. And this is the true concept of ascension. It's not something that it's not somewhere that we arrive. It's here now. And these are the kind of insights and the kind of wisdom and the deep rooted sort of understanding of spiritual wisdom that is being given to each and every one of us at the moment. So this is what this time's about, and this is what this insight's about today. And this is why insight and awareness is so important, because it brings and allows us to awaken to that wisdom, but also to bring our soul wisdom and bring it forth and start to vibrate with it within this, on this physical plane, but also the consciousness that each and every one of us, our thoughts and feelings change reality, shift and change reality. So consciousness is really important, that we keep our light energy and our light frequencies high, because the more we can do that, the more that we bring a more spiritual reality to our own lives, but we also then start to express it and vibrate in a spiritual way that actually helps to activate the planet, but also helps to link and connect to not just our own individual consciousness, but the collective consciousness on the planet. And each and every one of us has the ability, and those kind of processes of like telepathy and things like that, where we sort of send thoughts and energy out, are very much sort of like are very much here now for each and every one. We can send energy to leaders, we can send energy to the planet, we can send energy to areas, to each other. We do remote healing all the time, we do all these kind of things. And again, this is again having the awareness that we have a consciousness that is one light, one frequency. So there's no there's no distance, there's no space, there's no separation. And again, this is the new sort of like, this is how our consciousness is expanding again. As we start to wake into our spiritual sort of understanding and our spiritual source energy, we understand that there is no separation. There's just one light, one vibration. And again, ascension is the knowledge and the understanding that we'll always be that light, and we'll always be connected. We're always secure. We're always sort of in union with that source energy. So that's the insight for today. Check out my Facebook channel. I'll put a link for it below. Also, any questions, if you want to send any questions, I'm always happy to answer those. Like, subscribe, follow. Have a great day.